Mystic video. Probably be the last one, but you can just see Nick's getting frustrated and irritated because his wishy-wash, his woo-woo of the universe is universing, and therefore words like should don't mean anything anymore. They're incomprehensible rubbish because in universing world there is no such thing as outcomes that could possibly be different if something different happened. Yeah. So, right, we've complete agreement on the fact that I robot, you robot, everything robot, and yes, programmed by the universe. That's right. Past events made us. Every word I speak is a consequence of the language that's been developed by the slobs before me. They broke words, they made words, all that shit. The news I've seen, the kings in their little throny chairs, all the little bullshit I've seen has programmed me to respond in particular ways to particular collections of words. And so I hear somebody say, the universe is universing. And that's a response to, hey, maybe we should get off our ass and spread the disease of responsibility. Maybe we should have a war on irresponsible pregos. That kind of thing. That's all a waste of time because the universe is universing. And somehow it doesn't universe by doing this, motivating people by creating understandings that, hey, I robot, you robot, but guess what? Not all robots are the same. Some robots are fucking goddamn plague, and some robots are really good helpers. Really good at cleaning up messes. They're cesspool builders and waste management managers, and they take care of the business of function. And so they invent things like penicillin. Totally positive thing. And they do it because because of ideas, because they were motivated, for reasons, because the system, the universe, has developed this, the basic function, let's just say, is to recognize problems and solve them. We can do that. We can do it. Like the little cartoon. That's what we can do. And so the universe has a definite function inside of it that is problem solving. And all that really has to happen is there first to be problem recognition. And as long as you recognize problem, then you can solve problem. Unless you're an idiot and do something shortcutty, and then you can say the word should. Like, people shouldn't build houses in flood zones. I mean, duh. Should that be a debatable subject somewhere, in some place somewhere? Somebody should argue, well, no, the universe is universe. Go ahead, let them be stupid. Don't point out that they're being stupid. Don't point out that it's idiotic. Don't point out that you shouldn't sell them flood insurance. Just, pretend the stupidity didn't happen. So there's lots of bullshit spoken. So if you thought of this as like the weather, there's this mess of crap flowing around. The fact is, though, is that over time there's a reasonable expectation that these human animals do figure out how to make an outhouse, and then they figure out how to do indoor plumbing, and then they figure out how to make a waste management process. And yes, we haven't done it at all to perfect expectations, because there's lots of people swimming in shit and eating it and drinking it, but certainly better than it was. So you can see the fact that we can learn, and so the universe is learning, and we can say that is a much more agreeable statement. The universe learns, but he's not saying that. He's saying the universe is universing in this fatalistic, feudalistic way, as if there isn't something admirable or special or something worthy of note that certain robots function better than other robots, and that the ones that function better are really the only kind of hope. You know, they're the ones that have to take control of the, you know, the ones that know how to drive buses without crashing them into things, you know how to do it without it being a bumper car. And we can logically understand the universe's process, the universe is universing, and that somehow the universe should, okay, put people competent in the driver's seat. And that way there's less mess. And so the object is achieved. The purpose of having the better end and not having to say they should have, you know, they could have, it would have. We don't have to say any of that shit if you do it right. So that shit only comes up because there's this storm system, there's this thing happening, and all logic says, well, that cold front, okay, ought to be powerful enough. You know, words like, judge a man based on the content of his character, not the color of his skin, or his affiliation with a group, or his mild association through marriage with a race, or some other kind of crap. Yes, treat him like an individual. Judge him based on what he does. You know, not incidental things like what somebody else with a size 11 foot did. Yes, you know, certain little logical states. I mean, you say that cold front, now that should spread. I mean, that cold front should be powerful enough to sink down and just wipe out that warm front coming, you know, or something like that. Because and you sit there and you say, there's no way that shouldn't work on a brain. All them fucking robots should have enough rational programming to say, okay, I get that. That seems a reasonable idea. You know, let's not torture the children because of the crimes of the parents. Maybe we should do it the other way around. Maybe we should torture the parents for the crime of their fucking goddamn ratty little bastards. Yeah, that would be more rational. Anyway, it just seems like an evasion to do this the universe is universing thing. In terms of, it just doesn't get to the fact that when the universe is universing, we can see it doing it. We can see it processing not only the human beings, the other animals. You can see it processing the past into the present, through to the future, in the sense of ideas and systems, and we can see the progress. You know, the progress in the sense of at least the knowledge base. You know, progress in terms of the actual quality of the outcome. Yes, maybe nursing homes wasn't a great idea. Lots of stupid things, lots of stupid mud we stepped into. You know, that should be kind of obvious. You know, when you have like welfare whores on life support, you know, for 50 years at the cost of $46 million, yeah, maybe that isn't too fucking smart. And that's all. You can't. And it just seems a way to cut all the conversation off, because, you know, these are the people that don't want any responsibility. So if you just cut the conversation off, they don't have to do the analysis of what them robot. What was them robot? Was them robot a mess maker, or a cleaner up, or a fixer, or a breaker? So it comes always down to those simple words. Are you breaking, or are you fixing the universe in terms of your influence? Is the universe getting to be a better place or a worse place because of the drag or the whatever you're doing in the universe, the noises and the smells and the whatever you're making? Are those likely to prevent harm or cause harm? You can reduce it to simple questions, and they're valid questions, and it has nothing to do with the fact that we're robots. It has to do with the fact that we can process, and that every day is a new opportunity to process the universe, and to recognize a value, and to preserve it and defend it, to build an addition on the cesspool. The future has that potential, and it's not going to get built if everybody's just walking around going, the universe is universing. It's just not an answer to the dilemma of motivating robots to do what needs to get done. And it needs to get done because it should get done. You know, the should is the word is a valid word. So again, what other motivation is there for this idiotic big picture nonsense of saying let's not pay any attention to the processes that are the process, especially when we can identify processes that don't work and we can see them coming, and we can you know, even more obviously in a sense be reactive, and the universe's smart processes can defeat its stupid processes only through that mechanism. The only advantage the smart process has is that it can see something coming, okay, and like a bug it can go attack it. And yes, all that's the universe universing. But if it doesn't do that, if it doesn't do the good program, which is attack the bad program, then you're not going to have the result of the expanded cesspool thingy, you know, the better waste treatment. You're going to have cholera and you know, horror, death, and whatnot, and more chaos. You know, anything that adds more chaos, adds more reason for people to, you know, leave their little young robots unprogrammed. You know, leave them being just shit bots and you know, poo bots and the unaccomplishment bots. And yeah, well, that's, the smart bots can see it. The smart pieces of the universe can see the bad processes, identify them as bad, and understand that something has to be done. And if no one else is going to do it, they're going to have to. Just the way it is. They can understand all that logic. And so again, you know, this you know, Nick plays an awful lot of little petty games for a guy who's so you know, derogatory about other people's little petty games. But it just seems such an obvious evasion to you know, it's like these simple answers physics clings to, you know, in terms of it's the bent space geometry. You know, that's what makes planets move. The geometry tells it to. You know, it's a non-answer. To say the universe is universing is just not answering the question. It's just a huge fucking evasion. Yes, of course, the universe is universing. Of course, that's this. There's no other place. We can't get it from some other universe. The insightful information that tells us how to manipulate all the robots. You know, the key, the virus, we can give all the robots programming and make it all go wacky and you know, stop it from being a menace. You know, wacky from its normal function of being selfish cunt. But it's just a fact that within the process there's one of the functions, again, of the bot is recognition of a problem, and then it fixes the problem. And it seems to me if all the robots are just walking around going the universe is universing, they're not going to be turning on their radar, their recognizing radar, and be motivated to catch the stuff that shouldn't happen before it happens. And that's all that's required for the universe to take care of its own business, to properly poo in the toilet. So we're just talking about the universe having a reasonable function in terms of, and it can only do it through the processes, through the robots. The robots are the universe in that sense. They're the only thing that can fix it. And to sit there and talk about them as if they're not part of it, the system, and that they don't have a necessary function in the system, is just an evasion. And it's an evasion for what reason? Why focus on the irrelevant, you know, parentage of the universe in the sense of the process that created the now, when all we really have to do is see that the pool of the cess is overflowing, you know, and that it's not sufficient to the purpose. So we can see, you know, the stupid stuff going on, borrowing the children's money, or you know, building the house in the flood zone, or all the other stupid things we can see the stupid people do, and we can say, no, we got to stop being stupid. Stop doing stupid things. Stop thinking that the magic financing elves will show up and provide the capital to sustain systems that are bankrupt, that can't possibly they can't possibly succeed as designed. Insanely stupid flaws in our systems, and the only way that ever gets fixed, we already seen that process. It requires people to say, like Abraham Lincoln has to stand up and he has to be a man and say, look, this isn't acceptable. You know, you know, it's time we say it's time to winnow that crap out, and we're not going to accept your extortion threats. Okay, so yes, you can try to extort us to accept your tyranny, but we're not going to, and so we're going to man up. And those events have to happen, and they're not going to happen if Abraham Lincoln's walking around going, oh, well, the universe is just universing. It's none of my business. You know, so I don't have any role to play in the universe universing. And I don't know if Nick's going to that extreme, but you can certainly hear in his voice the attempt to minimize the importance of the rhetoricers, you know, of the henny penny saying the sky is falling, the people who would get all find it necessary to go whack a few fuckers in the head and say, come on, wise up. He does seem to think all of that is for naught, because through some mechanism of this universe being the universe, that somehow that means you don't have to actually whack each other, that we don't have to actually civil war each other to get shit done, because we fucking goddamn do. We have to fucking goddamn stand for something. And standing for the universe is universing is just bullshit. There's shitty parts of the universe and there's good parts of the universe, and you need to identify the difference between them. Fucking religion is shit, okay? Especially the fanatical, loony, I'm going to kill you if you don't believe in my God, or you insult my God, I'm going to kill you. Well, those fuckers need to go. That's just not acceptable shit to be having walk around. So let's just cage them up in their own little region and let them hack each other to pieces. But fuck that shit. And we don't need a wall around America. We need a wall around Islam. You know, fuck that shit. Anyway, that's a whole separate, you know. Obviously, that rhetoric can get excessive. So, yes, that's being excessive. But, you know, certainly in the context of our, you know, gratuitous war games that we played with these people, you know, we certainly deserve some blowback. So I'm not, you know, I'm fairly certain that Islam would ignore us if we would ignore them. But, you know, that hasn't been the game being played because of the oil interest. But anyway, but yes, smart people do have to fight for smartness ruling the universe. It's part of the programming. You can make arguments. Well, what software should we run? You know, Windows 95 or Ubuntu or that crappy Mac crap or whatever it is, Badger. Yeah, no. You know, we know what not to do, yes. And so I'm just saying the conversation is vital to the process of the universe. The universe has no hope of putting an extension on the cesspool if the smart people aren't engaged in identifying problems, using the word should a lot, and then talking about it. Because it ain't going to get done any other way. And it will get done if that process is allowed to take place. But if these naysayers, oh, you don't have any control, so to speak. Oh, we do have control. The robots do have control in their little networks. Yes, they're being puppeted. You know, but they're either being puppeted by logic and reasoning, combining facts properly, or combining facts improperly. And I just don't know how. There's no facts that Nick based the universe universing is a good theme. There's no fact to base that up because it doesn't say anything. It doesn't say anything about the processes that have to happen for the universe to end up being a better thing in the end, evolving properly. It's not going to evolve properly, okay, properly in the sense of be obedient to the logic, the progression of knowledge. That's as minimum is slowed down. That you're just as your universing theory is just as toxic to constructive function as the religious crap, because it's an empty statement. God's will be done. The universe's will be done. I mean, what's the difference? The point is that the will is only exercised through the activity of the humans. The robots have to do it. So if anything that should be done is going to be done, it has to be done because some robots recognized it needs to be done. And they had to talk about it, and they had to point it out to the other robots and humiliate them with labels like, fuck you, you asshole, selfish cunt, nihilist prick. I mean, they had to sit there and point it out, how your robot sucks. Your robot is just a selfish blight, a fucking welfare whore, in the sense of you're not giving anything back to civilization. You're just sitting there eating it. You're just licking the gravy off the plate, you know, and then saying, I want some more. You're not making anything. So yeah, fuck that. So the only rhetoric that's worth anything is the rhetoric that motivates people to do more constructive and productive action. Not shitheads talking about, well, the excuse is everybody can't help themselves, so we're going to use that as a blanket excuse to jump on the selfish wagon, you know, and just play music and, you know, rub boobies and whatnot, you know. So that's the impression. So I'm just saying, you know, it's to wheel back to this universing rhetoric. As, you know, we already did this 2 years ago, or whatever, and then we did it a year ago. So obviously it has some kind of hold on him, as if this means something, when as a statement it doesn't say anything at all. And the only way it can really be used is by people of evasion intent. Robots who are attempting to evade the logical imperatives that say they have to perform to a higher standard. So the only thing this universing crap it can really be used for is to demotivate, not motivate, and to do it in a way that's quite convenient to the robots looking to evade the fact that, oh, I have to jump on a grenade? Oh, shit. I really didn't want to do that. So they can find an excuse. They just use clause, you know, catch-22. The universe is universing. And they can get out of their duty. You know, get a deferment. The universe is universing, deferment. Now I don't have to pay attention. I don't have to see any of the problems. I can just blame it on the universe. You know, I can't control anything because the universe is controlling me. You know, kind of bullshit. Yes, you're going to be controlled by programming, and you can see it. See, now if the catch would be, if you couldn't see the stupid programs, you couldn't see yourself being selfish, you couldn't see yourself just stepping on the skulls and the bones and the going crunch crunch, if you couldn't see it, okay, then this nonsense of the universing shit might mean something. But we can see it, right? It's right in front of us when we're being a jackass. And you know, we're doing our self-interest shit, and so there's just no excuse, you know, to play this game that, oh yeah, I don't have to declare myself what I am as a selfish asshole then. Oh no, yeah you do. And then once you do that, you know that that's going to precipitate a bunch of other brain functions where you're not going to like your thoughts anymore, because your brain's going to just keep reminding you, oh, you know, you declared yourself a selfish asshole, remember that? You know, you are an unmeritorious pile of blighty scum. You do know that, right? You know, you're just eating gravy that somebody who would be constructive should have been eaten. Let somebody lick the gravy off the plate who's going to do something for the world, not some fucking asshole who's just going to ask for more. So, yeah, the fact that the universe is universing doesn't have anything to do with the fact that there's a difference between productive and destructive, fixer and breaker. Universing doesn't change the fact that we can identify the difference between those two functions, and we can see it in the world. We can see the breakers breaking, and we can see the fixers fixing, and it's just bullshit to say we can ignore that and just say the universe is universing. I don't have to be a fixer. That's a cop-out. That's all it is. Woo-woo cop-out. So let's play a little bit. I didn't watch the end of this, but you just see the tension he's feeling because he just knows nobody's. They're suckers, but they're not big enough suckers to say the universe. Oh yeah, I totally get that. Nobody could totally get that. And like I say, getting it doesn't get you anywhere. It just doesn't say enough, and it's too. It's like just saying. It's like somebody pointing out, "You're 98% seawater." Okay, so you know, what does that have to do with getting laid and all that other shit that's going on? Oh, that's right, nothing.
The universe universing. It is a part of the universe in motion, in action, doing things. Your brilliance is the universe being brilliant.
There you go. See, that's the point. See, he's saying that very sarcastically because he's not recognizing that there really is a huge difference in functionality. There's people who make the world a better place, and there's people who make the world a lesser place. There's people who cause the systems to become broken and dysfunctional and chaotic, and everybody gets bounced and round in the bus, and there's people who can drive a really good bus and they keep everything nice and quiet, and lots of comfortable happens because of them.
And then labeling it as yours. The labeling is done by the universe. The brilliance is done by the universe.
Right. It doesn't. So who's arguing with that crap? Like again, say, you know, even 3 years ago, iRobot, me brain. I mean, the conversation was already accepted. Yes, we're just a byproduct of programming, but there's machines that you can recognize the difference between good programming and bad programming. One's a you know, gravy whore, and the other one is a food production motivated chore bot. You know, they understand the obligations being on Meat Grinder Island. Being on Meat Grinder Island creates all these obligations because there's all this stuff to stop from falling in the meat grinder.
And there's nothing that is apart from the universe that can stand outside the universe.
So then again, see, he just keeps saying we're going to stand outside the universe and control the universe from outside the universe. No, the point is that the control is intelligence. The control is the ability to recognize problem, fix problem. That simple function is a function of the machine. The machine can do that for other interests than self-interest. Every problem isn't a self-problem. Every solution isn't a self-solution. And it can understand that. And that's all it needs to do, is understand it as that's the imperative of adding these numerals up. This is what the number comes out as. You're on Meat Grinder Island. The obligation is to stop the sentient feeling things from being ground.
And deflect it from what it is doing in any way, shape or form.
So again, this deflecting the whole universe when, no, we're part of the universe, the part that can actually recognize the difference between shithead and worthy thing, you know, meritorious and garbage. We can smell the difference between food and garbage. We can do that. You're trying to deny that function.
It is always and ever, always was, is, always will be the universe doing everything.
And again, how does that change the fact that to function and for the universe to improve, the smart people have to aggressively argue for smart. They have to implement the policy. They have to, go to the politicians and have the conversation. Nothing good ever happens without people arguing and defending it and pointing out how the other people are being shitheads and pointing out to them, humiliating them, and showing them to be assholes. That's how it gets done. It doesn't get done some other way. So what exactly are you arguing against here? The real imperative is that we stay focused on that fact, that good things only happen when good people get off their fucking ass and do good things. That's it. There's no other way the problem gets solved. The people who see the problem and can engineer a solution to the problem are the only solution. And you're basically saying, well, don't pay any attention to them because they're not from outside the universe. Well, no, they don't have to be from outside. They don't have to be aliens from a strange planet. No. All they have to do is be acknowledged that they're smarter than you. That there is a difference between dumbass and smartass. Shit. There's a lot of lead in France now, I think. But anyway, something's going on. Anyway, yeah, there's nothing. You can't say much. So that's pretty much all you got, is you can't say much. It's disappointing when smart bots go wrong. It's just disappointing, but that's all you can say. Disappointing, move on. You gotta keep being a good bot, because yes, if enough good bots do their job, you won't have to do that. Oh, they should have done better than that. The future won't have to do that. You can save the future the trouble, okay, by doing it now. Fix it now, and the future won't have to say, why the fuck didn't they fix this? Come on. I mean, those are easy themes. I mean, that's just easy to understand. Somebody's going to have to pay the bill. You know that. Everybody's already left the table. There's just you and the future sitting at the table. So you know the logic. Passing the buck ain't doing a damn thing. So there's only one answer. You pay the bill now. You pay it. And we got to pay the bill. We got to spend some portion of our energy and time talking about this, thinking about the problems, thinking about solutions to the problems. That's what people have to do. They have to sit there. I mean, I sat for a really long time. The democracy thing was always it's a complicated thing, and you have to think about it, and think about how the mechanisms of democracy, and what are the special interests, and what are the interests, and how much power should the different interests have, and how can you apportion power, and how can you come up with a system that's fair, And what you learn through that process, though, is just how unfair the system we have is. Just how broken it is in terms of representing the people in the society, because half the people in the society are told, fuck you, for no good reason. The representative bodies are made out of the same dictators, majoritarian dictators, that get to elect the king. The president. And that's bullshit. So it's easy to fix. So once you do that whole thought process, you can see how simple it is to fix. Just like with the wealth problem, you can see the biggest problem that just glares right at you, the unearned part of the inheritance thing. You got to cut that back. Give those loafers enough to get by, without having to work for the rest of their life, but don't give them control of your economy. Give them 2%, not 92%. Let them inherit a little, not all of it. And that fixes an awful lot. So, that's what people have to do. And they're not going to do that if they're going, I'll just wait for the universe to take care of it. They are the part of the universe that was supposed to take care of it, because it was capable of seeing it, and it was capable of understanding, if I don't do it, I just told my kids they're going to have to do it later. And if they evade it, then it'll be their grandkids that'll have to do it. And the problem ain't going to get easier to fix with time, it's going to get harder to fix. You're going to let the infection and the disease, rot away an arm or a leg. And then the universe is going to be limping for an awful long time, because it's going to take a long time to grow a leg back. I mean, whatever. But, the analogies is suitable. There's something real at stake, which is the welfare of the future. It's in our hands, and to sit there and say, we can't see it because we're not outside of the universe, or we can't fix it because we're not outside the universe, implying that is wrong. And that's what you're implying, Nick. You can pretend you're implying something else. I don't know what the fuck else it could be, except your feudalism. That's all you're implying. Feudalism. And there's no way, it's not feudal. It wasn't feudal in the past, when the good guys won. And the good guys won because they talked more like me, not because they talk like you. And that's a fact. Until next time.